Well, greetings, and thanks for joining us today on our 106th episode. It's supposed to only be 5 episodes. Here we are, episode number 106. We're thrilled to have you with us today. We are live on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for those of you that are listening to this after the actual session, I hope you enjoy it. Remember, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it is reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. I'm Tom Kuhn. I'm CEO of Qnity and Qnity for Schools, and active also in a new venture called the Qnity Institute. We really provide financial wellness and then other training that help small businesses become more profitable, have great execution and great growth using a lot of simple and visual tools. To really go from overwhelmed, complicated, confusing to a clearer path towards prosperity, whatever that means to you, which for many of you, it's about earning great money, doing it to love and having a great quality of life, as well as having a profitable business with great culture and a competitive edge. Using the new rules, which are simple, visual, and actionable. And remember to prosper, manage your ATM, your attention, time, and money. And it's not lost on us how precious your time is, and we're very grateful you're joining us either live or on the recording. Qnity provides training through its various money-related products, Money EDU for students, Money Pro for professionals, and Money SBO for salon owners and managers. Last week, we had Jason Yates from John Paul Mitchell Systems. He was a great guest, a very humble guy. He has a big role. And he was very gracious in sharing us some of his insights. You can listen to the recording. This week, we have Edwin Neill that I'm going to bring to the mic just in a few minutes here. I love this picture because this is a fresh picture from Serious Business. Will be part of what we'll talk about. A conference that just ended on Monday night. It was about the indirect work, and I really am thrilled to have Edwin just hours after the event to get some of his perspectives on serious business. Hopefully he can have a little sigh of relief to have such a monumental and amazing conference behind him. We'll get to Edwin just in a moment here. My light bulb moment, I have several light bulb moments that I'll probably save for some of the conversations with Edwin, but one of interest, and I have to give credit here to, hold on one second here, to Terry McKee, who sent me a message, and it's really a message from Southwest Airlines. So there was a complete debacle with Southwest Airlines that we all know about. And Terry was kind enough to send me something from some of the pilots from Southwest Airlines who wrote an open letter really to their customers. And it was a really candid assessment of Southwest Airlines and how, at least by their own internal assertion by many of the team members in the company, sort of had lost their way, and how they how leadership, it was a very candid letter. And by the way, if you're interested in this, put your name in the chat and we'll make sure we email it out to you. It's a little too long to read in this form here, but it's well worth a read. And essentially what it boils down to is Southwest Airlines, with successions, different leadership that came through the years, lost their touch with the front line and became more and more distant. And a lot of Southwest employees knew that a crash was coming. They didn't know when. I think that it's a worthy read and it's also an advocate for making sure that you're very in tune with what customers are saying, as well as up to speed on technology, investing in the future. And it's a great read. Perhaps it's a good segue into introducing Edwin, which one of the things about Edwin is not afraid to get in the front line. He hears his customers, he listens to them, they adapt, they evolve. So one of the most impressive things about Neill Corporation is I don't think they ever lost their way. They stay centered on their purpose, which really is about helping individuals reach their full potential, which of course is primarily through the professional beauty industry through multiple generation of leaderships. Before I get to that, just a couple other things here. The compensation study, the final report, went through final revisions. There was a 72-hour revision period where we had attorneys, we had the data experts, we had our study team all look at it. We got final comments Monday night. The report is going out, and I can't wait for those of you that participated in the study to have your first copies of it. And then thrilled and want to be thankful for everybody that also throughout this journey on the compensation study, which for those of you that are regulars on Lightbulb Moments, man, it's been going on since like March. You know, we've talked about it, not every single week, but I would say at least once a month for a while. And the findings are very rich. We've shared several with you in the past, and but our work is not done. We have more work to do to change the narrative about what a career in professional beauty looks like using data. And Edwin, Edwin, why don't we have you come to the, let's get you on camera here and let's take you off mute. Edwin, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing great. And one of the things that you said, Edwin, you know, I'm going to do a little more formal introduction in a moment, is that when you and I were having a little prep time, I said, Edwin, one of the many things I've admired about you is you're an activist. I mean, you don't just sit on the sidelines. I mean, you get out and you really speak on behalf of the industry, what you believe in, and you know, all of that. And you said, Tom, I'm an activist for facts. I like that one. So
well, I mean, it's true. And you know, the study you guys have undertaken have really confirmed things that we knew were facts. We knew that people that hairdressers were making a lot more money than what the Bureau of Labor Statistics says. And your study has certainly proven that. So there's just a lot of there are forces out there who have sort of targeted our industry, and for who knows why, for a lot of different reasons. There are people who groups out there who want to deregulate hair, and they don't think that you really need training to be a hairdresser. They kind of feel like anybody could do it, and we know how wrong that is, and we know how amazing this career in beauty is from a creative perspective, and of course from a financial perspective. So that's what, you know, I think you guys are doing, are uncovering facts around that, and there are other groups working on this as well.
excellent. Well, Edwin, not everybody knows you, and certainly I've known you a very, very long time, and it's really fun to see, you know, certainly there's the legacy of your father, Edwin, but you have your own legacy, and I want to get to that a little bit here. But so just by a snapshot here, how would you describe what you do in your role if I gave you like 1 minute to describe it?
I mean, helping salons grow. That's really, that's what we do at Neill, and that's what my job is. So like I think you said earlier, I spent a lot of time traveling in our 7-state Aveda distribution territory, meeting with salon owners, managers, stylists, and helping them with their business in any way we can. And obviously we are an Aveda distributor, but what we provide for salons is much, much more than product. You know, we've hosted Qnity education sessions throughout our 7 states we work with. And, you know, we've been partners for a long time. Was so amazing to see Erin on stage at Serious Business. I mean, I met her right after she was still in college, and I know her mom was very proud, as I'm sure you were. She's an amazing presenter and just an incredible young woman. So I just want to say you guys did a great job.
Well, thank you for that. And she did a great job. She's your own woman, and you were very gracious and generous to make that part of the agenda. It's important information, and thanks for that shout out. And so, you know, you're involved in multiple ventures. You know, you used to make salons grow, and What's unique about Neill is the depth and the breadth of the different ways that you touch businesses. And let's get on one right now. Let's talk serious business.
Yeah.
And shout out to you. Congratulations. Everybody give this guy a virtual round of applause. It was an awesome event. So
Yeah, and I wish I could take credit for it. You know, Carol Augusto and Deborah are the two people who really are behind that event, who picked the speakers. And I don't know how you felt, Tom, but the energy at the meeting was at a very high level, and it made me feel really good about the salon owners that were there. You could tell that they're busy, you know, as busy as they've ever been. Their salons are busy, and it just, I think people were really enjoying getting to spend time together in person.
Yeah, I mean, so this is no small feat. 25 years producing an event like this, and riding through the bumps over the last few years and navigating and keeping it alive. And then to see like last year's event, which was killer, and then this year's event, I mean, it seems like the atmosphere was electric. And so, you know, certainly you have to feel some pride about this, Edwin. I mean, you know, certainly you've got a great team. You already shouted out Carol and Deborah, and, you know, Kristen is a big part. You know, your whole team's involved in this. So how do you personally feel at the end of an event like that?
I don't know about you, but I was pretty tired yesterday. We actually had we had some Aveda folks in, and we had a meeting, and people were a little punchy by the end of the day yesterday. But I mean, I feel exhilarated. I can't wait till next year. Our attendance was up 25% this year, so that was really exciting. We will be back in the theater next year for general session, so we will be able to accommodate more people, which I'm excited about. But yeah, it's just such a great way to kick the year off. You know, when you look at you know, some of the presenters, I mean, and I know everybody really loved our first presenter, Ryan Leach. He was just a ball of energy and so funny, and really got us working on ourselves. And that's something that's really a belief that we have at Neill, that, and Deborah talks about this a lot, that really all business development is sourced in personal development. So that's what serious business is about. It's about not just working on your business, but working on yourself, so that you as a leader can show up in the way that's going to make the people around you really thrive.
There's just something, you know, we went through that long gap where no one was in person. Then we gradually kind of started going back to events, you know, in COVID. And, you know, there's just no substitute for that face-to-face time. And, you know, one of my favorite quotes is, many have dated the beginning of an era with the reading of a book. And I would also say many have dated the beginning of a new era with the meeting of a person. And, you know, this year I met some new people, and it's always really great you had a great expo this year, a lot of new vendors and what have you. And then I also want to thank you for providing space for Beauty Changes Lives as a nonprofit. You know, that was really awesome. As well as giving a shout out to the Unite as One No Beauty Secrets campaign, which I might get to in a moment. But that FaceTime that you have with individuals, it just gives you a quantum leap from, you know, just your day-to-day interactions from Zoom and all that. And it was just thrilling. And the energy was electric, Edwin. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, you mentioned a book to start things off. And I don't know if you got a chance to see Ryan Holiday. I really enjoy, he takes Stoicism, which is an ancient philosophy, and kind of updates it for modern times. And I really I love a lot of his messages. Like one message that really resonated with me is when he talks about how you can't control what's happening around you, but you can always control how you respond. And for me, I mean, I think you and I know each other well, Tom, and we both can be a little hot-headed. I mean, I hope I can say that on this. And I think for me, it's a good thing to always remind myself, just take that moment, and instead of reacting, think about how I'm going to respond.
Aaron or Edwin, where would we be without passion, right? And yes, at times, of course, I can get a little ramped up, and I would never call you out on doing that. But you know what? It's demonstrating you care, really. It's so funny you said that, though. I love it, and that's totally cool to say that, because yes, it's we're passionate people. We're passionate about what we believe in, and we need more passionate people that are willing to kind of put themselves out there, even if it means they get their energy up in a way that could be whatever. But Edwin, you have a hell of a legacy going here. I mean, I was just starting to reflect on sort of your body of work. Obviously your dad was a great entrepreneur, as a mentor, as a friend to all of us. But my gosh, what you accomplished. And when I start looking at the different business units that really fall under the Neill environment. I mean, he owns salons, started a software company, conference that's now 25 years into it, obviously distribution, tools, Elevate. I mean, there's this wide breadth, and it's the scale of it. And, so family business, entrepreneurship, and just multiple ways to serve the marketplace. And I got to tell you, each one of these businesses have a different model to it. So, it requires some intellect to be able to address all the things that go into these different businesses. How do you do it?
Well, you forgot the 18 beauty schools.
Oh, by the way, right?
Yeah, that's a
I
lot.
was jotting my notes down this morning, and certainly when I was reflecting last week about spending time with you, it was on my list. But yeah. So
it's all about having great people. You look at the leadership team we have. Obviously, you mentioned Kristen Wally earlier. She's an incredible leader of our Aveda distribution group. Callie Blackwell leads our schools, and she's been doing it for about 20 years. So she really understands that business. But in that business there's some difficulty there because it's a highly regulated industry. So she knows all the ins and outs and is a master at that. And then I think my wife Ada does a pretty good job with the tools and Vomora extensions. So yeah, we have great people. And Louis Lago, our COO, ran Salon Biz for many years and did a fantastic job with that. So, and that company is still really thriving. It was great to see them at Serious Business and hear about all of the improvements and the changes and the new things they're working on. So yeah, I feel really good about the Neill legacy. And obviously I'm just I'm one in a series of in a big family who's been in the beauty industry since the 1940s. And I'm excited about the younger generation. I mean, Garrison is running the 8 Paris Parker salons and the 3 Parker barbers, and those salons are doing extremely, extremely well, really better than they've ever done. So he has really shown his leadership capability. Tatum creating Elevate Hair. And I don't know if you got to go to the Elevate event on Sunday night. No. Yeah. Well, they had a packed house, and it's all about inspiring hairdressers, letting them have a platform to get up on stage and do their work and have others there to celebrate what they're doing. So yeah, all those things it's a lot of different things, but they really all have aiming at one thing, which is really elevating the beauty industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's very impressive. And a lot of us that know the Neill family, the Neill network, we kind of take it for granted. But when you really step back, it's quite incredible to be moving into 1, 2, 3. Is this 4th generation, or are we on 5th?
I think we're on the 4th generation.
Yeah.
Is how you would really, because my younger brothers are about 20 years plus younger than me. So yeah. And Paris is taking a bit of a break. She's working some, she just had a baby, but she's also involved in the business as well.
So maybe it's just me, Edwin, but I noticed in the last 5 years in particular, you've really emerged into, you've always been a great leader, but the last 5 years in particular, I've really noticed your leadership has become really, really evident. And have you noticed a shift in the last 5 years, or has it just been sort of gradual evolution through the years to you?
I think we're all always growing, you know. I mean, when I look at where your business has come, Tom, when I look at how Qnity has grown and all the things that you guys are involved with and how you've really perfected, you know, what you're delivering, you know, I think we're all constantly in a state of evolution. And that's something, you know, at Neill, growth is one of our core values. So that definitely means personal growth as well. And, you know, I've got a great partner, my wife, Ada, and, you know, I'm sure she has a lot to do with anything you might have noticed. So thank you for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and Ada is amazing. And yes, you know, I think that life is about our dyads, you know, our partners, you know, business partners, life partners. And, you know, when you look at, you know, special one-to-one relationships, the one-on-one relationship you have with Louis, with Kristen, with Deborah, you know, it starts to add up into just a series of dyads that really, I think, make us very successful. And you've got some very good ones. You know, I mentioned at the very beginning that I've admired you through the years for really being active in the industry, being on boards and taking a stand on things. And I think that I certainly want to get to your passion, the Crown Act, highly textured hair. And you did talk about that main stage a little bit, but let's get into that a little bit, because that's really groundbreaking, I think.
It really, you know, it really started, Tom, with a product launch that Aveda was working on about 5 years ago, Nutriplenish. And we had conversations about, you know, we knew it was great for textured hair. So we had conversations about, you know, how is Aveda gonna, how are we gonna talk about this? And we realized that we needed to get serious about textured hair education and create a curriculum that would work for stylists who are already out in salons, and also revamp our institute curricula. So we did that. And then fast forward to, you know, looking at, in my role, I'm the chairman of the board of cosmetology for the state of Louisiana, and looking at what we were doing in Louisiana, we pulled out the test, and the test was really all about straight hair. It's a test that kind of goes back to the 1950s. So we had an idea to make sure that people were, you know, a situation happens from time to time, which is a unfortunate situation where someone will go into a salon or call a salon, ask to come in and be told, we can't do your type of hair. Well, as a licensed profession, as people who are out there serving the public, that doesn't feel like really something we should be saying. So the idea was for us to make a change to the state board exam in Louisiana to have textured hair be part of the testing. So that to get a license in Louisiana, and we were the first state to implement this, you have to show some modest proficiency in servicing textured hair. So that was the beginning. Well, now PBA got involved, other manufacturers got involved, including L'Oreal and also Diva Curl, and we with Aveda, and we started something called the Texture Education Cooperative. So this group is now working with state boards throughout the country, working with them to implement texture education, texture testing as well. So that is something we're definitely really, really proud of. And you mentioned the Crown Act, that Louisiana passed it last summer. And we were the first Southern state to pass the Crown Act, which prohibits discrimination based on hairstyle in schools and businesses.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, as Linnell Lynch just put in the comment there. Good morning, Linnell. Great work on the textured hair. Absolutely. You know, the industry is at a critical stage right now. There is all sorts of things that, you know, I have to think that I have a pretty wide view of the professional beauty industry and have for many years. But I think my view very much widened this year as with the compensation study, which opened my eyes up to a lot of what's being published out there in print about near poverty level earnings and a low tier profession. And, a hobby, not a career. And, it doesn't take long for, you mentioned hot. It doesn't take long for me to get hot when I read that stuff, and certainly the human capital. I mean, Beauty Changes Lives is all about beauty being a first choice career, So you've been now privy to this campaign that is being looked at called No Beauty Secrets, and you mentioned it main stage, and sort of a got milk type campaign. How do you feel about that?
I think it's been needed for a long time. It's something, when I was on the board of the Professional Beauty Association, it's something that we talked about in board meetings, and it never got actioned. It was always seemed too big, too expensive, not anything that, that leadership wanted to take on. But I think it's something that we've needed for a long time. I mean, you look at, there's so many kids out there who are creative and looking for something to do. Maybe they have an interest in hair, and then at the same time, their parents are telling them, no, you shouldn't do that. That's a terrible career. And it's just because they're not educated. They don't realize that, you can make a 6-figure income being a hairstylist and work, 25, 30 hours a week. So I just think getting the word out about really who we are as an industry and what the opportunities are is super, super important.
What other, you've got a pulse on the industry and other things going on, critical issues. Here we have a great audience in front of us today. What other areas do you think are critical issues that, you're passionate about and have a voice on?
I think the whole hours controversy, there was a push by some certain groups and individuals to lower hours from 1,500 on average to 1,000. And to me, that's a big mistake. What we do in our industry requires a lot of training, a lot of practice, muscle memory, a lot of understanding about how to communicate with clients. And I think, what happens when you lower the hour requirements to 1,000, you basically end up with focusing on passing the state board. What gets dropped by the wayside is a lot of that clinical time when you're honing your skills, when you're learning how to have the confidence to take care of a client. You think about, how terrifying it must be the first time you have to cut someone's hair. And, am I going to mess it up? I mean, am I going to say the right things? Am I going to do the consultation correctly? And having an instructor with you by your side who can, coach you. And also, if you make a mistake, can help correct it. I mean, that's what really builds confidence. And confidence is what's going to make people successful as they enter their career in beauty.
Yeah, there's been a lot of debate, a lot out there about occupational licensing, and I don't know how anybody can even imagine removing licensure or radical changes to licensure. Certainly some tweaks, I get it, but you mentioned the confidence piece to that. That was, when I've heard the dialogues about the hours, I think you're the first one that really kind of resonated with me by using the word confidence. And the confidence to go into this trade, and the risk of not enough education to develop that confidence. That was an insight that I got from you. So
thanks. Well, and a couple other things on that. I mean, I think I said this at the conference, but this lowering hours is really a solution in search of a problem. Texas 2 years ago reduced hours to 1,500. The idea was, okay, if it's only 1,000 hours, we're going to have more people entering the industry. Well, that hasn't happened. We're not seeing an increase in enrollments in Texas schools because of lower hours. And in fact, students are opting for more hours because they want that confidence. They want that training. And then you think about, Tom, that the people who, I think are mostly your subscribers with Qnity. These are small business owners. I mean, they may have multiple locations, but, reducing training in beauty school just puts a bigger burden on the independent owners, on the entrepreneurs, because they've got to spend more time, more money, more resources because they're getting a graduate who's not as well trained as they would be as if they had the full 1,500 hours. So that's another piece of it.
Kind of makes me cringe to add that burden on, as you said, a small business owner who is already struggling to maintain, respectable profitability. A very fastly change, the pandemic being a major accelerator for how the workforce, manifests, and their workforce options. And it just, yeah. Now, Edwin, so we're still kind of new year here. I mean, we can still say sort of like Happy New Year and that kind of stuff, maybe for another day or so. Are you the type of guy that makes any resolutions?
We actually, my wife and I, every year, we go visit her family and we spend some time, just the two of us, and we work on our 9 grids. So we do a 9 grid of personal goals and professional goals, 2 9 grids, each year. And we typically come up with a word. And this year, Ada's word was clarity. And I decided just to steal it because clarity is so important. I mean, think about what the work you guys are doing, it's bringing clarity to how people are compensated in our industry. And I think clarity to me also means being really, really clear on your business goals, being clear on the direction you're going, and clearly communicating that to all your stakeholders, to the team, to the people, the customers you work with. So that is something that that's my, if you want to talk about a resolution, that's definitely my resolution for 2023.
I love it. And I love that. I know Ada's a big 9 grid person, and which is awesome. And I love that you do 2 9 grids. And give us a little sneak peek. What else is on the 9 grid? Let's unpack it a little bit. You don't have to.
I think I have it right here, Tom. Let me see. Hold on.
I'd love to hear another nugget or two about whether it's personal or professional.
Well, you know what I put on my personal 9 grid is, I mean, I read a lot and I think a good bit, but I don't think I really write it down enough. So I put on my personal 9 grid to do some journaling this year. I really want to develop that practice. So that's definitely a personal goal. I think another one is to, for me, that's something I work on a lot, is being present. There's so many distractions, our phones, I just think, you talked about my dad. One thing you could say about Edwin Neill II was, when you were with him, he was fully present, and he had a big impact on people. So I've never been as good at it as he was, but that's something I definitely want to work on as a personal goal. And then, for business things, it's always about growth. And, yeah, I mean, I've got a whole sheet of growth things. So
I just did a 9 grid this morning. I did 2 9 grids this morning myself, because I had 2 big trips back to back, coming in hot right after New Year's, and went to Ireland and then went to serious business. And this morning I took 2 9 grids and just kind of unpacked both events. Regarding journaling, that is something that I used to really struggle with. I knew the importance of it. There were many years where I would journal every single day, probably 5 straight years, something. In the book, The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron, the very beginning, she talks about morning pages, sort of free form journaling every morning. And I actually developed a tool around this, Edwin. It's called the Qnity journal. It's a gratitudes and accomplishments journal. So I moved from a lot of like text-based journaling to 1 sheet a week, and it's called a Qnity. I'll send you one, gratitudes and accomplishments. Because from a journaling standpoint, it's if you journal what you're grateful for, of course, but then also journal what you accomplished, the progress principle, it's so frustrating for me to see with great individuals that just don't acknowledge their progress. And so I'm a big fan of journaling, and that's awesome. I would love to hear if you keep doing that through the year, what your experience is, whatever. So.
Well, I think, a morning practice like that, Tom, like what you spoke of, is a lot better for us from, just our the way we are mentally than scrolling Instagram in the morning or Twitter, which is what I have really bad habit of doing that first thing. So that's something I'm definitely working on for the new year.
Well, Edwin, I've been dying to have a guest for a long time, and I was like, God, the perfect time to talk to Edwin would be right after serious business if he would indulge us. And it was great to see you. It was great to see Otto. It was great to see everybody. It was Garrison, Tatum, Deborah, Carol, Kristen. It was just such a great team. And so Edwin, I think that what we'll do is we'll wrap it up here. Before we do so, everybody please get Edwin a loud virtual round of applause. Give this guy a few shout outs here, will you, for the great work that he does. Edwin, this does create formal admittance into the Brain Trust, and your $1 million light bulb will be forthcoming to you, along with a box that acknowledges you. And I want to have you back as a guest. I think we got to have you back as a guest probably in 6 to 9 months, because I think a lot's going to happen between that time period. I'm sure that we get 6 months of the year. It's like, oh my gosh, I mean, look at all the things we did and all the things that happened. So yeah. So
well, good, Tom, and thank you for having me on. And I've got the fill in my calendar, so I'm planning on, if I don't see you before then, I'll definitely see you there.
Oh, that makes my day to hear you're going to be there. Edwin, thanks again. Give him a big shout out. And tune in now and then, Edwin. Put it on your calendar, 10 a.m. Wednesdays. You can lurk in the background if you want. So
we'll do.
All right, my friend. All right. So let's see here. What a great session with Edwin. I've been dying to get him on for a while here. And oh my gosh, we got some great people on this call right now. I don't think I'm gonna call all the names out here. I do see a lot of names, including a lot of people I was able to see over the weekend, as well as people that weren't able to make it down there. Terry McKee, I do notice that you're on the call. I do want to thank Terry McKee, and send an email to us if you want that Southwest Airlines article. I think it was sent it to me by text. And I read it and I thought, wow, everybody kind of needs to read that. And that was my light bulb moment for the week. So I believe we are on next week. If I am off on that, then I'm sure I'm soon to be corrected here. And what I want to do here is it's 40 minutes after the hour, which is a perfect time to wrap up. We are off next week. Okay. I do have a couple other things, by the way. We've got some save the dates here. So whoops, hold on here. Don't leave us yet. All right. So, all right. Save the date to fill. I got to change the slide. Early registration's over. May 22nd and 23rd is the fill. May 21st is Light Bulb Moments, which is a celebration of light bulb moments. We're going to give out some golden light bulbs. We're going to celebrate our Impact Awards. It's a Beauty Changes Lives fundraiser. So certainly save the date, sign up if you haven't signed up yet. We're super excited about this year's fill. We also have Money SBO as taught by Candace Gliato. That's going to be coming up March 13th through 13th to the 14th here in Minnesota. And also we have some new and special things coming very soon related to Money SBO. Ally Health is a sponsor of this. This is the way I describe it. It's virtual mental health care as well as virtual telemedicine. It's a great product. And also sponsors this, of course, is Qnity and its money related products, including Money Pro. I would love to hear from you. Also want to shout out to Lightheart Sanders, who's a sponsor of this. If you have anything that you think we should cover, a guest or anything like that, certainly reach out to me personally or go to our website and submit a light bulb moment there, if you will. So, and gratitudes. I'm very grateful for our team as it took a lot of effort to take a compensation study to the finish line. And so our team has worked really, really hard. And I'm looking in the chat here about sponsorships, this, that, yes. So anyway, that's what we have this week. It's 41 minutes after the hour. This is about where we want to keep these sessions. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'll stick around for just a moment here, read the chat. Otherwise, the rest of you have a good rest of the week next week, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care. Thank you.